Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Thursday, May 23rd, and boy, are we in for an active day today. NVDA came out after hours yesterday on Thursday and announced incredible earnings, better than expected earnings, revenue, and a fabulous forecast. So it has done it again, and it is carrying the market and lifting it to new highs. We're seeing here on the Bloomberg app in the markets and futures section that all three of the U.S. indices are in the green this morning. And I think today is going to start off at least as an extremely positive day, probably finish on a positive note as well. And a lot of opportunity today to get in on the momentum as things start to take off. What we'll see here in the Yahoo app is a number of the stocks we're following across different sectors are in the green going into the open. We're still a good hour and a half away from the open, but there is still a fair bit of pre-market activity in terms of movement and price changes this morning. We'll see that crude is up almost across the board, and that's thanks to crude itself, the crude futures on July 24th, a couple months out, sorry. Being up at above $78 for a barrel of oil. So that's up 52 cents. We have tech stocks up as well, the majority of them, some much more than others, but you can see certainly active in the semi space. So as we scroll down and take a look at ARM as an example, ARM Holdings, it is up almost 4% and $4. We can see that On Semi is up into the 76 range after a strong day yesterday as well. AMD up on the news from NVDA, up almost $5, so that should open close to 170 or in the 170s. We've got Qualcomm up. It was up yesterday. It's up another $2 today. That's got to be reaching close to recent highs or all-time highs in that stock. We have Lam Research up again. $22 pre-market this morning. Broadcom up $30 this morning, another semi-stock. We have Meta, which isn't a semi-stock, but a great company overall, having a good day yesterday. It's had a few bad days prior to that and was down in the low 460s, but it looks like it is now climbing back into the 470s and making its way back into the 490s and 500 range after its earnings hiccup. I'm not going to say miss, but an earnings hiccup on positioning and messaging this quarter. And then you've got NVIDIA. NVIDIA is up 66. I think it's been up as much as $70 pre-market. So I think we're going to see an initial spike on that, probably a bit of a pullback from that initial high, and then it'll just find a range to trade in today. So if you haven't bought into NVIDIA, there still is an opportunity to make some money in that today, but I would be very careful on that one because the big pop is going to occur before you can get into that as the markets open. What I would look at if you want to be a participant in this positive and green day are stocks that may open a little lower than the average, and then if the NASDAQ itself continues to maintain heightened levels and remain in the green, those stocks may catch up to the percentage increase of the NASDAQ. So to drill into that a little more as an example, if the NASDAQ is up 1% and you saw Google open and Google is up 0.2%, it's possible that by the end of the day, Google gets up to the 1% that the NASDAQ is up and it catches up to that, or maybe even to 0.6, and you'll make that spread in terms of the percentage increase. So that's what I would look at there. But follow the stocks that are being carried by the news of the day, which is NVIDIA, and stick with that narrative because those are the ones where the interest is, the volatility is, and where the money is moving in and out of. And then we get down to financials. So financials, they look like they're in okay shape this morning, certainly in the green, which is great, and they've been climbing steadily over the last month and a half. So if you've been in these and just sitting in them, you've been doing very well in terms of percentage gains. One of the ones that I do like at its current price, or two of them, is JP Morgan at 198. This was up at 206, or levels in that mid 200, low 200 range there. as recent as last week. And then SoFi down at 702, I think is a bargain. I think if you were to get in at 702, this is a stock that within the next 30 to 60 days is going to be at 750, and that's a nice percentage bump there and return if you were to sell out, if that were to transpire, which it has in the past multiple times. It's had 5% bumps, which is higher than I would typically be looking to achieve on a daily basis. And that's where we are today in the markets. So incredible news from NVIDIA, and that's sometimes what we do see, which is great. Otherwise, the whole market could have shifted to the downside and had effects across all portfolios. So be thankful when this sort of thing happens and take your profits. Have a great day in the markets. If you like these videos, please hit the subscribe button, give me a like, and leave me a comment if there's something you'd like to hear about.